Abasement. Students experience abasement from unfavorable academic comparisons. Bashed. The student was abashed when presenting to classmates. Abatement. Pollution abatement is vital for public health improvement. Abbreviated. Complex terms are often abbreviated for clarity. Abdication. Leaders' abdication of responsibility harms governance significantly. Abeyance. The legislation is in abeyance due to debates. Abjure. The politician abjured his prior statements on policy. Ablution. Many religions practice ablution for purification before prayer. Abnegation. Philosophical discussions often link abnegation to self-sacrifice. Aboveboard. Conduct experiments in an above-board manner for integrity. Abraded. The rocks were abraded by wind and water. Abridged. The abridged novel highlights main themes effectively. Abrogated. The regulation was abrogated by new policy changes. Abscission. Abscission is essential for deciduous leaf shedding. Absconded. The suspect absconded before the trial began. Abstemious. To maintain health, one must be abstemious in diet. Abstruse. The professor clarified abstruse quantum mechanics concepts. Abut. The properties abut a protected wetland, limiting development. Abysmal. Abysmal urban conditions significantly decline public health. Acceded. The committee acceded to the proposal after discussions. Acclimated. Acclimated students perform better in rigorous academics. Accolades. Students receive accolades from professors at graduation. Accretion. Accretion in planetary formation involves dust and gas accumulation. Accrued. The bank reported accrued interest will increase principal. Acerbic. The professor's acerbic comments challenged students' understanding. Acquiescence. Acquiescence is crucial in negotiation processes. Acrid. Acrid smoke from chemicals endangered nearby residents' health. Acrimonious. The committee's discussion turned increasingly acrimonious. Actuarial. Actuarial science assesses risk using statistical methods. Actuator. An actuator converts signals into mechanical movement. Acuity. Researchers measure visual acuity in cognitive development studies. Acumen. The researcher's acumen enhanced the study's success. Adage. The adage, history repeats itself, underscores learning from history. Addendum. The professor added an addendum addressing recent findings. Addled. The addled student struggled to focus on lectures. Adduced. Several theories were adduced to support climate change. Adjudication. The case's adjudication relied on trial evidence. Admonished. The professor admonished students for ignoring research guidelines. Adroit. The scientist was adroit at navigating complex data. Adulation. Adulation for professors can obscure critical theory analysis. Adulterated. Adulterated substances in food pose serious health risks. Adumbrated. The theory was adumbrated early in the book. Adventitious. Adventitious factors significantly influence species distribution. Versely. Pollution adversely affects human health and development. Aegis. The research was conducted under the aegis of ethics. Airy. The eagle's eyrie was high on the cliff. Affable. The professor's affable nature encouraged student inquiries. Affixed. The label must be affixed for proper identification. Affluence. Economic affluence shows significant wealth distribution disparities. Agape. The audience sat agape at the scientist's findings. Agglomeration. The agglomeration of data enhances research findings. Aggrandizing. The politician's aggrandizing rhetoric breeds public skepticism. Aggrieved. An aggrieved party seeks redress for injustices. Aghast. Researchers were aghast at the contradictory experiment results. Agnostic. An agnostic approach explores hypotheses without commitment. Agog. Students were agog for the scholarship winner's announcement. Agrarian. Nomadic to agrarian society marked a historical turning point. Alacrity. Students should study with alacrity for optimal learning. Alimentary. The alimentary canal facilitates nutrient digestion and absorption. Allegory. Allegory conveys complex moral lessons through symbolism. Alliteration. Alliteration enhances rhythm and musicality in poetry. Allocate. We must allocate resources according to team needs. Alluded. Her thesis alluded to supporting studies. Altruism. Altruism enhances understanding of selfless group dynamics. Amalgamation. Amalgamation of cultures enriches societal experiences. Amateurish. The research's amateurish methodology lacked academic rigor. Dexterous. Ambidextrous individuals perform tasks more efficiently in professions. Ambivalent. Students are ambivalent about future career paths. Amble. Students amble through campus discussing classes and scenery. Ambulatory. Ambulatory care significantly improves patient outcomes. Ameliorate. Interventions can ameliorate learning disabilities in students. Amity. Historical treaties aim to establish amity between nations. Amorphous. Amorphous solids lack defined crystalline structures affecting properties. Amphibian. Studying amphibians is vital for ecosystem understanding. Anachronism. Smartphone use in an 18th century film is anachronism. Analgesia. Analgesia research is vital for effective pain management. Analgesic. The new drug's analgesic effects surpassed existing medications. Anathema. Individualism is anathema to community values and cultures. Ancillary. The university offers ancillary services for student support. Animism. Animism fosters respect for nature in indigenous cultures. Animus. Historical animus shapes societal attitudes and policies. Annotated. An annotated bibliography summarizes and evaluates research sources. Annuity. An annuity consists of equal interval payments. Annul. The court annulled the previous ruling due to errors. Anodyne. The medication's anodyne effect reduced patient discomfort significantly. Antecedents. Understanding conflicts antecedents offers valuable causal insights. Antedated. The document was antedated to show prior agreement. Antediluvian. Antediluvian civilizations reveal early human societal development. Anthropoid. Anthropoid primates exhibit human-like social behaviors. Climax. The novel's anticlimax disappointed readers' expectations. Antics. Students' antics distracted the professor during lecture. Antipathy. The study showed significant antipathy towards policy changes. Antipodes. Antipodes are diametrically opposite points on Earth. Antithesis. The antithesis of motivations reveals deeper narrative themes. Aperture. Aperture size influences light reaching the sensor. Aphorism. The aphorism encapsulates complex ideas concisely. Aplomb. The scientist presented findings with aplomb and confidence. Apocryphal. Scholars debate the authenticity of apocryphal texts. Apogee. A satellite's apogee is its farthest orbital point. Apoplectic. The professor was apoplectic over tampered research data. Apoplexy. Apoplexy can cause severe neurological deficits requiring urgent care. Apostate. The figure became an apostate by renouncing his faith. Apothegm. A notable apothegm conveys complex philosophical ideas. Apotheosis. The Renaissance represents the apotheosis of classical ideals. Appellate. The appellate court reviewed the original trial's legality. Apposite. The apposite examples clarified complex theories effectively. Appurtenance. Appurtenances like easements define property boundaries. But the professor's comments were apropos recent climate developments. Colline. The sculpture featured an aquiline nose typical of Romans. Arable. Studying arable land use informs agricultural productivity. Arboretum. The Arboretum functions as a botanical research facility. Archetype. The hero's journey is an archetype of storytelling. Argot. Argot denotes specialized vocabulary for specific groups. Aromatic. Aromatic compounds exhibit stability and unique bonding structures. Arrears. The company is in arrears on loan payments. Arrhythmic. Arrhythmic heartbeat patterns indicate crucial health information. Artifice. Political campaigns often use artifice to manipulate perceptions. Artisan. Skilled artisans preserve traditional crafts and techniques. Artless. The child's artless drawings express genuine creativity. Ascended. The population has ascended educationally over the decade. Ascetic. Philosophers promote an ascetic lifestyle for self-discipline. Ascribed. Biodiversity decline is ascribed to human activities. Aseptic. Aseptic techniques are essential in microbiology to prevent contamination. Ashen. The patient's face turned ashen after diagnosis. Askant. Researchers viewed preliminary results as scants, doubting validity. Skew. The painting hung askew, diminished its aesthetic appeal. Asperity. The professor noted the debate's asperity hindering dialogue. Aspersions. Avoid casting aspersions on opponents without evidence. Assay. We must assay the sample for substance concentration. Assiduously. Assiduously studying increases students' exam success likelihood. Assuage. The government enacted policies to assuage economic fears. Stigmatism. Astigmatism results from an irregularly shaped cornea. Astringent. Certain plants' astringent properties reduce inflammation in medicine. Asymmetric. Species interactions in ecology are often asymmetric. Atavism. Atavism in genetics reveals insights into evolution. Atrophy. Prolonged immobility can cause muscle atrophy. Attrition. The study analyzed student attrition in online courses. Augmented. Augmented reality transforms student engagement with education. Augury. Ancient augury reveals interpretations of natural signs. Authoritarian. The authoritarian regime suppresses dissent to maintain control. Autocratic. An autocratic system centralizes decision-making authority. Aviary. The facility features an aviary for bird research. Cation. Scholars often pursue an avocation alongside research. Vowed. The researcher avowed intent to publish findings. The professor's avuncular demeanor encouraged student inquiries. Awl. An awl creates holes for nails or screws. Axiom. An axiom is an unproven foundational statement in mathematics. Bacchanal. The university's bacchanal unites diverse cultural traditions. Backsliding. Backsliding in educational attainment occurs without addressing socioeconomic factors. Badinage. Badinage fosters a relaxed atmosphere in academic discussions. Bandy. Scholars often bandy ideas to enhance understanding. Barefaced. The politician's barefaced lies shocked the audience. Baubles. Consumers prefer baubles that indicate status over utility. Bawdy. The play's bawdy humor reflects societal norms. Beatification. Beatification is crucial for a saint's canonization. Begets. The theory of evolution begets understanding of biodiversity. Beguiling. The artist's beguiling charm captivated the audience. Behooves. It behooves us to examine ethical research implications. Labor. Belaboring points is unproductive when concepts are understood. Beleaguered. Beleaguered communities struggled to rebuild post-disaster. The data may belie the researcher's initial hypothesis. Bellicose. Bellicose rhetoric escalates military conflicts between nations. Bemoan. Researchers bemoan insufficient funding for scientific projects. Bemused. Students seemed bemused by the complex lecture theories. Beneficiaries. Beneficiaries of social welfare include low-income families. Brat. The professor berated students for inadequate preparation. Berated. The professor berated students for exam preparation deficiencies. Besieged. The city was besieged, causing severe food shortages. Besmirched. The scandal besmirched the scientist's once respected reputation. Bestiality. Bestiality raises ethical questions about animal rights. Bevy. A bevy of factors influences student performance. Bifurcation. The river's bifurcation formed two distinct ecosystems. Bilious. The patient's bilious symptoms indicated liver dysfunction. To bilk. The company attempted to bilk investors with deception. Blandishments. The politicians' blandishments aimed to sway undecided voters. Bastic. The politician's bombastic speech lacked persuasive power. Boorish. The professor condemned the student's boorish behavior. Bowdlerized. The novel was bowdlerized to protect young readers. Brackish. Estuaries are brackish, supporting diverse ecosystems. Brandishing. Brandishing weapons escalates tensions in conflict resolution. Bristles. The brush's bristles effectively remove dirt from surfaces. Bromide. A common bromide in climate discussions is urgency. Browbeat. Leaders may browbeat subordinates into unreasonable compliance. The professor's brusque response surprised the class. Bucolic. The artist's work reflects a bucolic setting. Bungle. Researchers bungle experiments, invalidating their results. Burgeoning. Burgeoning urban populations increase housing and service demand. Burnished. The artist's burnished techniques reflect her refined practice. Buttress. Research findings buttress the argument for accelerating climate change. Cacophonous. The city's cacophonous sounds overwhelm new residents. Cacophony. Urban cacophony affects residents' mental health. Cajole. Researchers cajole students by offering incentives for participation. Callow. The callow students struggled with complex theories. Calumny. Calumny significantly affects reputation and career, explained the professor. Canard. The vaccine autism link is a debunked canard. Canny. Students adopt a canny, problem-solving approach, considering perspectives. Cantankerous. The cantankerous professor stimulated lively class debates. Capitulation. The treaty followed the enemy's capitulation, ending conflict. Captious. Captious remarks hinder constructive academic dialogue. Carcinogenic. Certain carcinogenic substances significantly increase cancer risk. Careening. The vehicle was careening uncontrollably down the hill. Carousing. Students were carousing in the streets during festivities. Cartography. Cartography is essential for analyzing geographical data. Castigated. The professor castigated students for inadequate exam preparation. Causal. The study establishes a causal link between diet and health. Caustic. The scientists' caustic observation highlighted experimental design flaws. Caveat. Research includes a caveat about study limitations. Celerity. The celerity of the reaction surprised the researchers. Censorious. The professor's censorious remarks sparked heated student debate. Centrifugal. Centrifugal force acts outward in rotating systems. Centripetal. Centripetal force maintains circular motion in physics. Certifiably. The experiment's results are certifiably accurate. Certitude. High certitude is essential for validating research findings. Chagrin. The professor's chagrin arose from late assignments. Chastened. The students were chastened by their exam performance. Chastise. The professor chastised students for late assignments. Checkers. Children develop strategic thinking through checkers. Chicanery. The investigation uncovered chicanery, undermining research integrity. Chided. The professor chided students for missing deadlines. Choleric. Choleric temperaments often cause group conflicts. Chortle. The professor's anecdotes made students chortle during lectures. Chronological. Historical events are presented in chronological order. Chronologically. Events were presented chronologically for historical context. Churlish. Churlish behavior hinders the learning environment, noted the professor. Circumlocution. Circumlocution obscures the main argument in academic writing. Circumscribed. Parks development is circumscribed by zoning laws. Circumspect. A circumspect approach ensures all variables are considered. Circumvent. Researchers seek to circumvent hindering regulations in experiments. Clamoring. Students were clamoring for attention during the lecture. Cloying. The dessert's cloying sweetness hindered student enjoyment. Coagulation. Blood coagulation is vital for wound healing. Coalesce. Different species can coalesce into one lineage. Coda. The coda concludes the musical composition effectively. Coddled. Coddled students often struggle with college independence. Codified. Scientific method principles have been codified for consistency. Coeval. Fossils in the same layer are coeval. Cogent. The professor's cogent argument addressed student counterpoints effectively. Cogitation. Deep cogitation is vital for grasping complex theories. Cognizant. Students must be cognizant of ethical research implications. Colloquy. The professor promoted a colloquy to enhance understanding. Comity. Comity denotes mutual respect among nations' laws. Commensurate. Project funding will be commensurate with expected outcomes. Commiserate. Communities must commiserate with disaster-affected individuals. Commodious. The library offers a commodious study space for students. Compendium. The professor presented a compendium of supporting studies. Complaisant. Many cultures value complaisant behavior for harmony. Comport. Students must comport with the university's conduct code. Compunction. Individuals experience compunction when actions contradict morals. Concatenation. Concatenation of data sets enhances analytical comprehensiveness. Conciliatory. Negotiators used a conciliatory approach to resolve conflict. Concomitant. Socioeconomic status is a concomitant factor in education. Concurrent. Concurrent events significantly impact complex system outcomes. Condolences. Offering condolences to the bereaved is customary. Conflated. Researchers have conflated variables, resulting in inaccuracies. Confluence. The confluence of ideas fosters innovative research solutions. Confounding. A confounding variable obscures true variable relationships. Congealed. The congealed blood suggested the victim's prolonged presence. Congruent. Two shapes are congruent if size and shape match. Connotation. The term freedom has varied cultural connotations. Connotations. The term freedom has diverse connotations across cultures. Conscription. Conscription significantly shapes military forces historically. Consigned. Artifacts were consigned to the museum for preservation. Conspirators. The investigation revealed the conspirators' months-long coup planning. Consternation. The policy change caused students consternation about futures. Construed. Actions may be construed as evidence of intent. Contentious. Climate change remains a contentious issue among experts. Contiguous. Contiguous regions share boundaries, influencing ecological studies. Contorted. The artist's contorted figures redefine beauty and form. Contravened. The policy contravened existing data privacy regulations. Contumacy. The student's contumacy prompted university disciplinary action. Convivial. The university fostered a convivial atmosphere for newcomers. Convoked. The committee convoked to address urgent university issues. Convoluted. The professor's convoluted argument needed careful analysis. Convulsions. Convulsions necessitate immediate medical intervention to avoid complications. Coquette. The coquette illustrates complexities in romantic relationships. Cornucopia. The research revealed a cornucopia of climate change data. Corollary. A theorem's corollary offers further insights or consequences. Corpulent. Corpulent individuals face higher chronic disease risks. Corroborated. Additional research corroborated the study's findings. Corrode. Moisture can corrode machinery's metal components over time. Corrosion. Studying corrosion aids in creating durable materials. Corrugated. Corrugated materials enhance structural integrity and reduce weight. Cosseted. Some cultures cosset children, hindering future independence. Coterie. A coterie of scholars shapes research direction. Countermanded. The general countermanded previous orders for troop safety. Cousins. In cultures, cousins denote significant extended family members. Credo. The philosopher's credo values individual freedom in ethics. Crestfallen. The professor felt crestfallen after the grant rejection. Crevices. Organisms adapt to conditions in rock crevices. Crux. The crux of climate change is economic versus environmental balance. Cull. Researchers cull data from diverse sources for accuracy. Culpa. The court deemed the defendant culpable for negligence. Curmudgeon. A curmudgeon hinders workplace collaboration and innovation. Cursory. The researcher performed a cursory literature review. Curtailed. The research project was curtailed by budget constraints. Cynically. The researcher cynically dismissed social media's positive effects. Cynosure. The leader is the cynosure in group discussions. Dabbled. Students have dabbled in diverse extracurricular activities. Dally. Students dally and become unprepared for exams. Dappled. The forest's dappled light fostered ecological study. Deadpan. The comedian's deadpan expression confused the audience's perception. Debased. The economic crisis has debased marketplace values. Debonair. The speaker's debonair demeanor captivated the audience. Debunked. Recent studies debunked long-held nutrition beliefs. Canter. A decanter enhances wine flavor through aeration. Decry. Researchers decry the lack of diversity in science. Defaced. The manuscript was defaced, hindering historical interpretation. Defeatist. A defeatist attitude hinders innovative economic policy solutions. Deferential. Students should engage deferentially in academic discussions. Deflection. Light's deflection through a prism demonstrates optical principles. Defray. The university will defray research project costs. Deft. The surgeon's deft hands ensured a precise operation. Defunct. The technology company is now defunct and irrelevant. Deified. Ancient leaders were deified posthumously for contributions. Deify. Cultures often deify leaders, assigning them divine traits. Deign. The professor did not deign to respond. Deleterious. Exposure to chemicals has deleterious health effects. Delineated. Geography delineated country boundaries for territorial understanding. Demagogue. A demagogue exploits fears during crises for power. Demure. Demure individuals often show less assertiveness in groups. Denigrate. Do not denigrate others' achievements in academia. Denizens. Urban denizens adapt lifestyles to city changes. Denouement. The denouement resolves narrative conflicts in literary analysis. Deplete. Depleting natural resources necessitates sustainable alternatives. Deprecating. Self-deprecating humor may undermine speaker authority. Depredations. Invasive species depredations cause ecological imbalances. Derided. Some scholars derided the theory's lack of support. Desiccated. Desiccated remains reveal insights into past climates. Despondent. Students felt despondent after unexpectedly low exam results. Desuetude affects legal studies. Unenforced laws become obsolete. Desultory. The professor criticized the students' desultory research projects. Tract. Study findings may detract from research significance. Devolved. Governance has devolved to enhance local decision-making. Diaphanous. The artist employed diaphanous materials for lightness. Diatribe. The professor's diatribe criticized detrimental environmental policies. Dichotomy. The dichotomy of nature versus nurture persists in psychology. Dictum. The case's dictum set a precedent for rulings. Didactic. The professor's didactic approach enhanced student understanding. Digress. The professor digressed from the main lecture topic. Dilapidated. The team studied dilapidated buildings' economic impacts. Tory. The committee's dilatory decisions frustrate eager stakeholders. Dilettant. A dilettante lacks depth compared to professional curators. Dirge. The dirge at the funeral evoked profound emotions. Duse. The professor disabused students of historical subjectivity. Disaffected. Disaffected students protest against the educational system. Disavowed. The researcher disavowed contradictory previous findings. Disclaimer. The contract contained a disclaimer limiting company liability. Discombobulated. Individuals feel discombobulated by unexpected environmental changes. Discomfited. Unexpected questions discomfited many seminar participants. Discompose. Unexpected news can discompose students' focus. Discreetly. Data were collected discreetly for independent analysis. Discretionary. The university allocates discretionary funds for innovative research. Discursive. The discursive analysis examines multiple perspectives on the topic. Disgorge. The volcano disgorged ash and lava into the atmosphere. Disheartening. Disheartening results showed significant decline in engagement. Disheveled. The disheveled student indicated poor preparation. Disingenuous. The politician's disingenuous remarks lacked sincerity. Disinter. Archaeologists disinter artifacts from ancient burial sites. Disjointed. The study's disjointed narrative obscured the main argument. Disjunction. A disjunction joins statements using or in logic. Disparaging. The professor warned against disparaging other researchers' work. Disparity. The study highlighted income disparity among socioeconomic groups. Dispassionate. The dispassionate analysis revealed no significant correlation. Disproportionate. Climate change has a disproportionate impact on low-income communities. Disputatious. A disputatious student challenges prevailing theories in discussions. Disquisition. The professor's disquisition examined climate change's marine effects. Dissembling. Dissembling affects public trust in political leaders significantly. Dissemination. Dissemination of research findings advances scientific knowledge. Dissidence. The government suppresses dissidents to maintain control. Dissipated. Some energy is dissipated as heat, reducing efficiency. Dissonance. Cognitive dissonance causes discomfort from contradictory beliefs. Distended. The patient had a distended abdomen, suggesting gastrointestinal issues. Distillation. Distillation is vital for liquid purification in laboratories. Distrate. Students appear distrate during lectures due to distractions. D. Many species display diurnal behaviors vital for survival. Divergent. Researchers encountered divergent views on technology's communication impact. Divest. The company chose to divest non-core assets. Divination. Ancient cultures used divination for decision-making guidance. Doctrinaire. The professor's doctrinaire approach stifled student discussion. Doddering. The doddering professor lagged behind in his field. Doff. In formal settings, one must doff one's hat. Doggerel. Doggerel is criticized for lacking depth and merit. Doldrums. Industries often enter the doldrums during downturns. Dolorous. Her dolorous expression revealed profound grief. Dome. A person's domicile is their legal permanent home. Dotage. Cognitive decline often accompanies individuals' dotage. Doer. The professor's dour demeanor hindered student engagement. Doyen. Dr. Kim is the doyen of social theory. Draconian. The university's draconian measures ensured safety compliance. Dregs. The study revealed society's dregs necessitating reform. Dross. Inequalities dross hinders societal progress and development. Drudgery. Repetitive drudgery decreases student motivation. Dial. Ductile materials deform significantly before failure. Dulcet. The choir's dulcet tones created serene ambience. Dyspeptic. The patient exhibited dyspeptic symptoms post-large meal. Buoyant. The professor's ebullient enthusiasm inspired student engagement. An edifying discussion enhances understanding of complex theories. Facing. Effacing memories is crucial for understanding trauma's brain effects. Effervescent. The effervescent reaction generated significant gas. Fet. An effete society struggles to maintain cultural vigor. Effrontery. The students' effrontery surprised the entire lecture hall. Fulgent. A fulgent starlight is visible from distant galaxies. Effusive. The professor's effusive praise boosted her confidence. Egalitarian. Modern democracies are based on egalitarian principles. Egoism. Egoism can drive altruistic behavior in specific contexts. Egress. The design ensures safe egress during emergencies. Elementally. The theories are elementally different in understanding behavior. Elicit. Researchers design experiments to elicit participant responses. Elucidate. The professor sought to elucidate quantum mechanics theories. Emaciated. The patient was emaciated, indicating severe malnutrition. Embed. Researchers embed data to contextualize their findings. Embellish. The historical narrative was embellished with vivid details. Embossed. The book's embossed cover enhances aesthetic appeal. Embroiled. The country became embroiled in a prolonged conflict. Embryonic. The research examined embryonic developmental processes. Emend. Scholars amend manuscripts to correct errors and meanings. Emollient. Emollient significantly enhances skin hydration in eczema patients. Emoluments. The university's emoluments policy ensures fair staff compensation. Enamored. Students are enamored with studying abroad's benefits. Encomium. The professors in Encomium praised her students' groundbreaking research. Encroachment. The study analyzed land encroachment's effects on ecosystems. Encumbered. The study was encumbered by insufficient funding. Endemic. Island species are endemic and highly adapted. Enervating. The enervating lecture diminished student attention and engagement. Enfranchised. Enfranchised citizens vote and engage in governance. Gender. The study seeks to engender understanding of climate impacts. Engendered. The research engendered new understanding of climate impacts. Enjoined. The court enjoined the company to cease harmful practices. Ennui. Students frequently encounter ennui in unengaging lectures. Entails. The research entails comprehensive data analysis over a decade. Enthralled. The audience was enthralled by the speaker's presentation. Entomology. Entomology is crucial for studying insect ecosystem roles. Enumerated. The researchers enumerated key climate change factors. Enunciated. The professor enunciated key concepts for student understanding. Ephemeral. The ephemeral nature of species underscores conservation importance. Epicure. An epicure appreciates gourmet food and drink. Equable. Equable temperatures significantly influence biodiversity in ecosystems. Equanimity. Equanimity is vital for effective decision-making under pressure. Equine. Equine studies examine horse biology and behavior. Equitable. The court ensured an equitable resource distribution. Equivocal. The study provided equivocal evidence on drug effectiveness. Erode. Environmental factors erode ancient structures' foundations over time. Erudite. The erudite scholar analyzed the event's historical context. Eschew. To promote peace, we must eschew violence. Espoused. She espoused theories challenging traditional education views. Aesthetically. The building's design is aesthetically pleasing on campus. Ethos. A society's ethos significantly influences educational policies. Euphony. Euphony is crucial in enhancing poetry's musicality. Evanescence. Evanescence is essential for understanding beauty's transience. Even-handed. The researcher maintained an even-handed approach in the study. Evinced. The research evinced understanding of climate change interactions. Evocative. Evocative language enhances the reader's emotional experience. Exacerbated. The drought exacerbated the region's water crisis. Exalt. Her thesis exalts renewable energy's virtues for sustainability. Excoriated. The researcher excoriated outdated theories, ignoring recent findings. Exculpate. Evidence exculpated the defendant from all charges. Execrable. Participants' execrable behavior skewed study results. Exemplified. The fossil record exemplified gradual species evolution. Exigencies. Researchers adapt strategies to meet public health exigencies. Exiguous. Exiguous resources hindered research progress significantly. Expatiate. The professor will expatiate on climate change implications. Expatriate. Expatriates face unique challenges adapting to new cultures. Expiation. Expiation is central to discussions in moral philosophy. Explication. The explication of the theory clarified complex concepts. Exponent. An exponent indicates multiplication of the base number. Expository. An expository essay explains complex concepts clearly. Expostulate. Students expostulate against assumptions in research studies. Expound it. The professor expounded the theory of relativity clearly. Expropriation. Expropriation is justified for public infrastructure development. Expurgated. The expurgated novel omitted inappropriate content for youth. Extant. The study examined extant flora adapted to climate change. Extemporaneous. We emphasize extemporaneous delivery for audience engagement. Extempore. Students frequently deliver extempore speeches in academia. Extirpated. The ecosystem extirpated the invasive species for balance. Extolling. The professor extolling renewable energy sources during lecture. Extraneous. Extraneous variables significantly affect experimental results. Extrapolation. Data extrapolation predicts future trends from current findings. Extricate. Researchers extricated the sample from surrounding debris. Extrinsic. Extrinsic factors influence students' academic performance significantly. Extrovert. An extrovert prefers social interaction and external stimulation. Exuberant. The student's exuberant enthusiasm was evident in discussions. Successful leaders exude confidence, inspiring team performance. Exultant. Students were exultant after surpassing exam expectations. Facet. Consider the various facets of climate change's biodiversity impact. Facetious. The professor's facetious comment lightened the lecture's mood. Factitious. Factitious disorders involve intentional symptom production. Totem. A factotum efficiently manages diverse administrative tasks. Fallacy. The ad hominem fallacy undermines academic arguments significantly. Fallible. All scientific methods are fallible and error-prone. Faltered. Her confidence faltered during unexpected audience questions. Fastidious. Fastidious detail is crucial for accurate scientific results. Fatuous. The professor condemned the students' fatuous arguments. Fazu. The unexpected results did not faze the researchers. Feasibly. The project can be feasibly implemented within budget. Feckless. The feckless climate policies lack effectiveness. Fecundity. Studying plant fecundity enhances agricultural productivity understanding. Feigned. The researcher used feigned data, damaging his credibility. Feint. Martial artists use a feint to distract opponents. Felicitous. A felicitous outcome relies on aligned social factors. Fervid. Fervid debates among scholars yield significant advancements. Fetid. Fetid odors from decay impact local ecosystems significantly. Fetters. Social norms can fetter individual freedom and expression. Figurines. Ancient cultures used figurines in rituals for deities. Filibuster. The filibuster enables minorities to indefinitely delay legislation. Filigree. The ancient jewelry's filigree shows advanced craftsmanship. Finicky. Finicky details can lead to breakthroughs or failures. Firebrand. The activist was a firebrand for social justice. Flaccid. Certain disorders cause flaccid muscles, impairing mobility. Flippant. The student's flippant remarks undermine the lecture's seriousness. Florid. The professor criticized the student's florid essay language. Flouted. Many participants flouted established experimental guidelines. Fluctuate. Stock prices fluctuate significantly with market conditions. Foible. Recognizing foibles is crucial in human behavior studies. Foment. Government policies may foment unrest among citizens. Foray. Researchers' foray into climate change impacts marine biodiversity. Forebears. Genetic studies traits inherited from our forebears. Forensics. Forensics is crucial for crime resolution and evidence analysis. Foreshadowing. Authors use foreshadowing to hint at future events. Forestall. The committee proposed measures to forestall conflicts. Forswear. Individuals may forswear prior statements for accuracy. Fossilize. Organic materials can fossilize into sedimentary rock. Fracas. The fracas during the debate revealed student divisions. Fractious. The fractious committee struggled to reach consensus. Frenetic. Frenetic technological advancement significantly impacts society and economy. Frieze. The frieze depicts historical events enhancing architectural aesthetics. Fulminate. The professor fulminated against harmful policy changes. Fulsome. The professor deemed the fulsome praise disingenuous. Furor. The furor over climate policies ignited intense debate. Furtive. The researcher noted subjects' furtive behaviors during experiments. Gadfly. A gadfly stimulates discussions on social justice. Gainsay. Evidence is essential to gainsay established theories. Galvanized. The research galvanized scientists to explore renewable energy methods. Gambol. Researchers observed young mammals gambol in habitats. Gamut. The study encompassed the gamut of psychological theories. Gargantuan. The gargantuan universe challenges our physics understanding. Garish. The garish decorations overshadowed the museum's artwork. Garrulous. The professor defined a garrulous speaker as overly talkative. Gastronomy. Gastronomy includes food preparation and cultural significance. Germination. Germination is essential for plant growth and development. Gerrymandering. Gerrymandering alters electoral outcomes by manipulating district boundaries. Gestation. Gestation periods vary among mammalian species significantly. Gesticulating. The professor emphasized gesticulating to engage the audience. Jibe. Participants often jibe at opposing viewpoints in debates. Gleaned. The researchers gleaned insights from the study data. Glowering. The professor observed students' glowering expressions about exams. Glut. The oil market experiences a glut, decreasing prices. Glutinous. Glutinous substances are vital for traditional dish textures. Goad. Researchers goad participants into action with compelling data. Gossamer. Gossamer threads symbolize delicate beauty in literature. Gourmand. A gourmand prioritizes quantity over culinary quality. Grandiloquent. The professor's grandiloquent style obscured his main points. Gratis. The university provided textbooks gratis to incoming students. Gregarious. Gregarious individuals form larger social networks for collaboration. Grimace. The scientist grimaced at the unpleasant smell. Guffaw. The professor's joke made the class guffaw. Guileless. Her guileless approach fostered trust and accurate data. Gustatory. Gustatory perception significantly influences food preferences. Hackney. Hackneyed phrases undermine academic argument originality. Hackneyed. Hackneyed phrases undermine originality in academic writing. Halcyon. The halcyon 1950s are viewed as prosperous and stable. Half-hearted. The students' half-hearted project effort showed low commitment. Hallucinations. Severe disorders may cause distressing hallucinations in patients. Halting. The research team experienced halting progress from difficulties. Hampered. The lack of funding hampered the research scope. Hazard. Haphazard arrangement of findings caused data interpretation confusion. Hiyo. The professor's harangu emphasized ethical research considerations. Ism. Contemporary philosophy often links hedonism to pleasure. Hedonistic. Hedonistic lifestyles prioritize pleasure over long-term well-being. Hegemony. Hegemony is vital for understanding international relations dynamics. Herbivores. Herbivores transfer energy from plants to higher trophic levels. Heretics. Historical records indicate heretics faced persecution during Inquisition. Hermetic. A hermetic seal prevents contamination in experiments. Dox. The research offered a heterodox perspective on economics. Heterogeneous. A heterogeneous mixture contains visibly different substances. Hieroglyphics. Ancient hieroglyphics reveal insights into early civilizations. Hirsute. Hirsute traits in mammals reveal evolutionary cold adaptations. Histrionic. Histrionic behavior reveals emotional exaggeration for attention. Homeostasis. Homeostasis is vital for organisms' internal stability. Homily. Students analyze the structure of a homily. Homogeneous. A homogeneous mixture has uniform composition throughout. Hoodwinked. Consumers are often hoodwinked by misleading advertisements. Humdrum. The research findings humdrum nature disinterested students. Hyperbolic. Hyperbolic functions analogize trigonometric functions in mathematics. Hypocritically. The politician spoke hypocritically about transparency while concealing dealings. Hypothesize. We hypothesize certain variables impact experimental outcomes. Iconoclastic. The artist's iconoclastic approach challenged traditional beauty notions. Idiosyncrasies. Psychology studies individuals' idiosyncrasies to understand behavior. Igneous. Igneous rocks form from cooling magma or lava. Noble. The leader's ignoble actions caused public outrage. Ignominy. The politician experienced ignominy following the scandal. Imbibe. Students imbibe knowledge from diverse sources for understanding. Imbroglio. The political imbroglio prompted significant policy changes. Imbued. Cultural artifacts are imbued with societal values and beliefs. Immured. Individuals immured in dungeons faced dire consequences. Immutable. Thermodynamics laws are immutable and universally applicable. Impalpable. Quantum mechanics involves many impalpable phenomena. Impecunious. Impecunious students frequently seek financial aid. Impelled. The study's findings impelled researchers to revise assumptions. Impenitent. Impenitent behavior complicates rehabilitation in criminal justice. Impermeable. The impermeable barrier prevents water movement in soil. Imperturbable. The scientist was imperturbable despite unexpected results. Impinge. Climate change studies impinge on environmental policy aspects. Impious. The ruler's impious actions undermine societal morals. Placable. Implacable climate change challenges policymakers significantly. Implausible. The researcher's theory was deemed implausible without evidence. Impondere. Imponderable factors often influence scientific research outcomes. Importunate. Students' importunate requests revealed support system deficiencies. Imprecation. Ancient societies invoked imprecations to curse adversaries. Improvident. The students' improvident spending caused financial difficulties. Impugned. Several experts impugned the research findings' validity. Puissance. Impuissance reveals leaders' limitations in enacting change. Imputation. The imputation of project failure responsibility was contentious. Inalienable. Inalienable rights underpin human dignity and justice. Inane. The professor criticized the inane debate arguments. Inarticulate. Inarticulate student responses indicated material misunderstanding. Incandescent. Incandescent bulbs transformed home and workplace illumination. Inchoate. The research project remains inchoate and needs development. Incipient. The incipient project stages revealed significant challenges. Inclement. Inclement weather hindered the archaeological dig's progress. Congruous. The findings were incongruous with established theories. Incontrovertible. The study's evidence was incontrovertible, achieving researcher consensus. Incremental. Incremental temperature changes significantly affect plant growth rates. Incrustation. Mineral incrustation reveals geological processes. Inculcate. Educators seek to inculcate critical thinking in students. Incursions. Historical military incursions indicate territorial expansion patterns. Indefatigable. The scientists' indefatigable efforts yielded groundbreaking discoveries. Indeterminate. Calculus presents indeterminate forms in unclear limit evaluations. Indigent. The study examined indigent populations' healthcare access challenges. Indoctrination. Political indoctrination influences individuals through systematic exposure. Indubitably. The experiment's results indubitably support the hypothesis. Induration. Induration in tissue may indicate a pathological condition. Ineffable. Beauty is ineffable, surpassing words and definitions. Ineluctable. Ineluctable climate change consequences demand immediate government action. Inequities. The study highlighted persistent social inequities in education. Inexorably. Technology inexorably links economic growth to sustainability. Infinitesimal. Calculus uses infinitesimal quantities to describe minimal changes. Infirm. Infirm individuals may need extra support in aging. Ingrained. Cultural beliefs are ingrained, shaping societal behavior. Gratiate. Students ingratiate professors to enhance grades. Inimical. Certain environmental factors are inimical to native species. Inimitable. The artist's inimitable style influences countless creators. Inopportune. The inopportune timing caused inconclusive experimental results. Inordinate. The study revealed inordinate data requiring analysis. Inscrutable. Researchers found his inscrutable behavior puzzling. Insipid. The professor deemed the lecture insipid and unengaging. Insolvency. Financial insolvency reveals critical business failure factors. Insouciance. Students' insouciance indicated disengagement from the lecture. Insubstantial. The study's evidence was insubstantial and unconvincing. Insuperable. Climate change presents insuperable challenges requiring cooperation. Integrally. Ecosystem components are integrally related. Changes affect all. Interdict. The government may interdict certain substances for health. Interdiction. Interdiction of chemicals is vital for environmental protection. Interject. The professor interjected to clarify students' misunderstanding. Interloper. An interloper disrupts ecosystems by introducing foreign species. Internecine. Internecine conflict hinders regional development and stability. Interregnum. The interregnum caused uncertainty in policy direction. Intractable. Researchers encountered an intractable problem in ecosystem modeling. Intransigence. Political leaders' intransigence hinders negotiation progress. Introspection. Introspection aids psychological examination of thoughts and feelings. Intrusively. Data collection intrusively affected participants' personal lives. Intuitively. The results intuitively indicate a strong variable correlation. Inundated. The research team was inundated with diverse data. Inured. Students inured to long hours excel academically. Invective. The politician's speech included invective against opponents. Invade. The professor inveighed against insufficient scientific research funding. Inveigle. Researchers inveigled participants into sharing sensitive information. Inveterate. Inveterate procrastination significantly hinders academic performance. Invidious. The invidious comparison heightened campus tensions. Inviolable. Inviolable rights protect individual freedoms in democracies. Invoked. Researchers invoked cognitive development theories for children's learning. Irascible. The irascible professor sparked heated classroom debates. Irate. The professor was irate about late assignments. Iridescent. Iridescent butterfly wings refract light through microscopic structures. Irksome. Constant interruptions were irksome to focused students. Jabber. Students jabber about unrelated topics, distracting others. Jaunt. Students take a jaunt to historical sites for studies. June. The professor criticized the jejune analysis in the paper. Jibe. The results did not jibe with the hypothesis. Jingoism in the early 20th century caused conflicts. Wistic. Jingoistic rhetoric overshadowed the need for diplomacy. The professor's jocose remarks lightened the classroom mood. Jocular. The professor's jocular tone fostered a relaxed atmosphere. Jovial. The jovial classroom atmosphere encouraged active participation. Jubilant. Students were jubilant upon exceeding exam expectations. Juxtapose. Researchers juxtapose political systems to highlight differences. Juxtapose. Gentrification effects are juxtaposed with residents' needs. Naughty. Researchers encountered a naughty problem, reconciling conflicting data. Label. Experimental results are labeled due to external factors. Lacerations. The study analyzed lacerations' impact on tissue healing. Lachrymose. The novel's lachrymose nature evokes deep emotions. Lackadaisical. The student's lackadaisical studying negatively impacted his grades. Lackluster. The student's lackluster presentation failed to engage. Laconic. The professor's laconic responses frustrated many students. Laggard. Laggard students may need extra support to improve. Laity. The laity supports clergy and engages in church activities. Basted. The policy was lambasted for lacking transparency. Poon. The author lampoons the political system's absurdity. Languishing. Students in a languishing state struggle with coursework. Languor. Students experience languor, impacting academic performance. Lank. Lank vegetation indicates high moisture levels in wetlands. Largesse. The university's largesse expanded library resources for students. Lassitude. Lassitude during lectures hinders students' concentration. Laud. Her thesis lauds early scientists' contributions to technology. Legerdemain. The magician's legerdemain demonstrated exceptional sleight of hand. Lethargic. Students feel lethargic after prolonged study sessions. Lethargy. Lethargy during lectures hinders students' information absorption. Levee. Levee construction is crucial for flood control. Levity. Levity can undermine the seriousness of academic discussions. Lexicographer. The lexicographer compiled the dictionary's latest edition meticulously. Libertine. 18th century libertines challenged societal moral norms. Licentiate. Many European countries require a licentiate for practice. Lilliputian. The organisms were Lilliputian, complicating observation efforts. Limb. Her thesis limns social identity complexities in literature. Limpid. Researchers studied the Limpid Lake's aquatic ecosystem. Lionized. Celebrities are often lionized, overshadowing lesser-known contributors. Lissom. The dancer's lissom movements captivated the audience. Listless. Students seemed listless, unable to engage with material. Litany. The professor outlined a litany of research challenges. Lithe. The dancer's lithe movements captivated the audience. Lull. Students loll in the library to enhance creativity. Loquacious. The loquacious speaker engaged the seminar audience effectively. Lucre. Pursuing lucre creates ethical dilemmas in business. Lucubrate. Students lucubrate late to prepare for exams. Lugubrious. The film's lugubrious tone conveyed profound loss. Luminaries. Luminaries in physics discuss groundbreaking theories together. Lustrous. The mineral's lustrous surface enhances its visual appeal. Maceration. Maceration extracts essential oils from soaked plant material. Macules. Macules are distinct flat skin areas under 1 centimeter. Maelstrom. The political landscape was a maelstrom of ideologies. Magisterial. The professor's magisterial presence demanded respect. Magniloquent. The author's magniloquent style obscures argument clarity. Droit. The student's maladroit experiment handling yielded inconclusive results. Malaise. The study revealed students' malaise about mental health. Propisms. Malapropisms can undermine academic argument credibility. Malcontent. Malcontents challenge the status quo for social reform. Malediction. Malediction in literature evokes themes of revenge and justice. Malefactors. Researchers analyze motivations of malefactors' behavior. Malfeasance. Malfeasance by public officials prompted urgent reform demands. Malingering. Malingering is assessed to identify feigned illness. Malleable. Metals are malleable, enabling diverse shapes without breaking. Malodorous. Malodorous conditions in the laboratory raised safety concerns. Manumitted. In the 19th century, many were manumitted. Martinet. A martinet enforces strict adherence to academic rules. Mastic. Ancient civilizations utilized mastic for medicinal purposes. Matriculation. Matriculation is essential for enrolling in higher education. Maudlin. Excessive maudlin sentimentality undermines research objectivity. Mawkish. The film's mawkish sentimentality detracted from the narrative. Meandering. The river's meandering course affects the ecosystem significantly. Megalomania. Megalomania in leaders fosters authoritarian regimes suppressing dissent. Melee. The battle resulted in a significant melee and casualties. Mellifluous. The professor noted the choir's mellifluous sound. Audacious. The researcher made mendacious claims misrepresenting the data. Mendicant. Mendicant orders significantly spread religious teachings in Europe. Mercantile. 16th century mercantile activities transformed global trade patterns. Mercurial. The artist's mercurial nature caused creative shifts. Meretricious. The artist's meretricious beauty lacked depth and substance. Mesmerizing. The galaxy's intricate patterns are mesmerizing to astronomers. Cosm. The city is a microcosm of national social dynamics. Migratory. Many species display crucial migratory patterns for survival. Milieu. The study examined students' performance in their educational milieu. Minuscule. Researchers study minuscule DNA variations affecting traits. Minutia. Minutiae of daily life reveal cultural insights. Misanthrope. A misanthrope often critiques society and literature. Misapprehension. A misapprehension in psychology is intelligence's genetic basis. Miscellany. The paper presented a miscellany of supporting data. Misconstrued. The media often misconstrued the study's results. Miscreants. Miscreants exploit community vulnerabilities for criminal activities. Misgivings. Students have misgivings about succeeding in advanced mathematics. Misnomer. The term Dark Ages is a misnomer. Misogynistic. Misogynistic attitudes hinder women's workforce participation. Missive. The committee issued a missive about policy changes. Mnemonic. A mnemonic enhances memory by linking new concepts. Modicum. Scientific research requires a modicum of evidence. Modulation. Signal modulation is crucial for data transmission. Researchers mollify climate change concerns with solutions. Mollycoddle. Excessive mollycoddling hinders children's resilience development. Molt. Birds molt, shedding old feathers for new growth. Monochromatic. Monochromatic light consists of a single wavelength. Monolithic. Ancient pyramids are monolithic symbols of pharaoh power. Moratorium. The university imposed a moratorium on new admissions. Mordant. The professor's mordant critique exposed the theory's flaws. Moribund. The local economy's moribund state worries policymakers. Motility. Increased sperm motility is essential for fertilization. Mottled. Leaves showed a mottled appearance from chlorophyll variation. Mountebank. A mountebank exploits patients with unproven treatments. Multifarious. The study analyzed multifarious factors influencing climate change. Munificence. The university's munificence enhances education access for underprivileged. Mutable. Mutable conditions significantly affect experimental outcomes. Mutineers. The mutineers demanded improved conditions and disobeyed orders. Myopic. The researchers' myopic view limited broader understanding. Nascent. Nascent technology could revolutionize the energy sector. Natty. A natty appearance influences designers' reputations significantly. Nebulous. The theory is nebulous, lacking clear definitions. Negate. Researchers aim to negate bias effects for valid results. Gism. The Internet has generated many neologisms reflecting phenomena. Neophyte. A neophyte in biology struggles with complex concepts. Nepotism. Nepotism in hiring reduces workplace diversity. Nettle. Construction noise nettled students studying in the library. Niceties. Understanding cultural niceties is vital for global communication. Noisome. The industrial process emitted noisome fumes threatening health. Nondescript. The artist's nondescript work lacked distinctive style. Entity. A non-entity rarely impacts group behavior significantly. Plus, the experiment's results nonplus the researcher's next steps. Nostrum. A nostrum may lack scientific validation in medicine. Nugatory. A nugatory claim lacks real value in law. Nullify. The court nullified the contract for lack of consent. Obdurate. Obdurate resistance can hinder social progress. Absence. Many cultures pay obeisance to elders respectfully. Obfuscation. Obfuscation in research leads to public misunderstandings. Obloquy. The politician endured obloquy severely affecting his career. Obsequious. The assistant's obsequious behavior aimed to gain favor. Obstreperous. The student's obstreperous behavior disrupted the lecture. Obtrude. Avoid obtruding personal opinions in academic discussions. Obviate. The policy obviates the need for extra funding. Occluded. Groundwater flow can be occluded by impermeable rock. Odium. The scandal generated significant odium for the politician. Officiating. Officiating at conferences ensures fair academic discussions. Olfactory. The olfactory system influences flavor perception significantly. Oligarchy. Political oligarchy concentrated power among elite families. Omniscient. An omniscient narrator reveals all characters' thoughts. Omnivorous. Many animal species are classified as omnivorous. Onerous. New regulations impose onerous burdens on small businesses. Onus. The onus is on researchers to provide evidence. Opprobrium. The scientist faced public opprobrium after publication. Opulent. The museum showcased an opulent collection of artifacts. Ornate. The ornate temple design reflects cultural values. Ornithologist. The ornithologist presented findings on migratory patterns. Oscillation. Oscillation is vital for understanding wave phenomena. Ossified. Traditional values have ossified, hindering new ideas. Ostensibly. The study's results were ostensibly positive for treatment efficacy. Ostracized. Socially ostracized students face emotional and academic challenges. Ousted. The leader was ousted after widespread protests. Outmoded. Many social science theories are now outmoded. Overweening. Overweening ambition in leaders causes governance disasters. Paean. The professor's paean celebrated human resilience against adversity. Palatial. Palatial architecture reflects the civilization's wealth and power. Paleontology. Paleontology studies ancient life via fossil examination. Palliative. Palliative care enhances quality of life in chronic illness. Pallid. The patient's pallid complexion suggested a health issue. Palpitations. Anxiety disorders frequently cause patients' palpitations. Pet. Researchers seek a panacea for all diseases. Panache. The artist showcased her work with panache. Panegyric. The professor's speech was a panegyric to early scientists. Panoramic. The study offered a panoramic view of ecological changes. Parity. Achieving parity among sectors balances the economy. Parochial. Many students have parochial interests limiting global understanding. Paroxysmal. The patient showed paroxysmal brain activity suggesting seizures. Parsimonious. A parsimonious explanation is favored in scientific research. Parvenu. Parvenu disrupts established societal class structures. Pastiche. The artist's work is a pastiche of styles. Patina. Ancient artifacts patina reveals historical insights. Patrician. Ancient Rome's patrician class wielded political power. Patrimony. Preserving cultural patrimony maintains historical identity. Paucity. The study shows a paucity of climate change research. Dilois. Minor peccadillos can cause significant research misunderstandings. Pecuniary. Economics analyzes stakeholders' pecuniary interests in markets. A pedagogue shapes students' educational experiences significantly. Pedantic. The professor's pedantic style alienated practical students. Peevish. A peevish attitude hinders collaborative student research. Pejorative. The term pejorative denotes negative connotation in discourse. Pellucid. The findings were presented in a pellucid manner. Penury. Many families experience penury from the economic downturn. Percipient. Percipient students quickly grasped complex theories during lectures. Peremptory. The judge's peremptory ruling allowed no appeal. Perfidious. Perfidious political leaders undermine public trust. Perfunctory. The professor criticized the student's perfunctory analysis. G. The satellite's speed peaks at perigee due to gravity. Peripatetic. The peripatetic team gathered data from various locations. Periphery. The study examined factors affecting urban development's periphery. Permeability. Soil permeability is vital for understanding water movement. Permeate. Pollutants can permeate soil, impacting groundwater quality. Permeates. Culture permeates various aspects of social behavior. Perquisite. Tenure's perquisite includes conducting independent research. Perspicacious. The professor's perspicacious analysis revealed overlooked trends. Perspicuous. The professor's perspicuous explanation clarified the complex theory. Pertinacious. The scientist's pertinacious pursuit yielded groundbreaking discoveries. Perturbation. A small perturbation can significantly alter system behavior. Pervades. The scent of flowers pervades the garden's atmosphere. Pervasive. Social media's pervasive influence on communication is evident. Petulant. Students' petulant behavior disrupted the lecture. Phalanx. The military phalanx enabled effective unit combat in Greece. Philistines. Critics dismiss Philistines lacking appreciation for art. Phlegmatic. Phlegmatic individuals remain calm under psychological stress. Peebled. Peebled horses aid genetic studies of animal color patterns. Pilfering. Pilfering in workplaces causes significant financial losses. Pillory. Accused individuals were publicly humiliated in a pillory. Piquant. The spices imparted a piquant flavor to the dish. Pique. The novel's style aims to pique interest in identity. Pitfalls. Identify pitfalls that may compromise research validity. Pithy. The professor's pithy remarks clarified complex concepts. Platitude. Discussions on climate change often include platitudes instead of complexities. Plaudits. The scientist earned plaudits for her climate research. Plenitude. The study revealed a plenitude of research resources. Plethora. The study revealed a plethora of supporting data. Pliable. Pliable materials can be easily shaped without breaking. The pliant material easily shapes into various forms. Plutocracy. Plutocracy influences policies favoring the wealthy. Polemic. The article is a polemic against prevailing theories. Polyglot. Being a polyglot enhances global communication and understanding. Pontifical. The professor analyzed the Vatican's pontifical authority. Porous. Porous materials are vital for studying groundwater dynamics. Portend. The data may portend significant climate pattern changes. Portent. The temperature drop was a portent of storm. Poseur. A poseur feigns expertise in art criticism. Postulated. Piaget postulated distinct stages in cognitive development. Potable. Access to potable water is vital for public health. Pratet. The professor cautioned against students who prate. Prattle. Students often prattle instead of focusing on lectures. Amble. The preamble outlines the Constitution's fundamental principles. Preclude. New regulations may preclude previously allowed research. Predilection. Researchers show a predilection for qualitative methods. Preeminent. The preeminent genetics scholar published groundbreaking studies. Preempt. The university preempted conflicts with new conduct policies. Preen. Birds preen feathers for insulation and waterproofing. Prehensile. Primates possess prehensile appendages for effective grasping. Preponderance. A preponderance of evidence supports the hypothesis. Prepossessing. The artwork's prepossessing nature captivated the audience. Presaged. Previous studies presage the current research outcomes. Prescience. The scientists' prescience on climate change is validated. Presentiment. The scientists' presentiment predicted unexpected experimental results. Preternatural. The athlete's preternatural abilities ensured his dominance. Prevarication. Prevarication in data reporting raises ethical concerns. Primping. Primping affects self-presentation and first impressions significantly. Probity. The researcher's probity ensured study integrity. Proclivity. The study revealed adolescents' proclivity for risk-taking. Procrastination. Procrastination hinders academic performance and increases student stress. Procrustean. The professor criticized the Procrustean educational standards applied universally. Profligate. Profligate resource spending caused environmental degradation. Progenitor. Genetics traces organisms' lineage to their progenitor. Prognostic. Researchers identified prognostic factors affecting patient outcomes. Proliferation. Nuclear weapons proliferation threatens global security significantly. Prolix. The professor criticized the students' prolix writing. Promulgated. New regulations were promulgated for international compliance. Propensity. Research shows students' propensity for engaging relevant material. Propitious. Propitious circumstances enhance successful outcomes in experiments. Proponents. Proponents argue renewable energy is vital for sustainability. Prosaic. The author's prosaic style failed to engage readers. Proscribed. Certain behaviors are proscribed for societal safety. Proselytizing. Secularism reduces religious proselytizing on campuses. Protean. The scientists' protean abilities adapted to project needs. Protracted. Protracted negotiations caused significant diplomatic tensions. Protuberance. A rock's protuberance indicates underlying mineral deposits. Prurient. Literature studies reveal prurient societal norms and taboos. Putile. The professor deemed the students' arguments puerile. Pugilist. A pugilist symbolizes struggle for recognition in sports history. Pugnacious. Pugnacious behavior establishes social dominance in species. Puissant. The puissant leaders significantly swayed public opinion. Pulchritude. Pulchritude is central to aesthetics in art and nature. Pulverized. Pulverized substances exhibit different properties than bulk materials. Pummeled. The recession pummeled the economy, causing job losses. Punctilious. The researcher was punctilious in following ethical guidelines. Pundit. Pundits debate climate change's impact on global economies. Purported. Scholars widely debate the purported benefits of the policy. Pusillanimous. A pusillanimous response hinders progress and innovation. Quaff. Students quaffed drinks to demonstrate camaraderie during celebration. Qualms. Students have qualms about group project participation. Quandary. Students face a quandary with conflicting research theories. Quashed. The court quashed the earlier ruling due to insufficiency. Querulous. The students' querulous complaints disrupted class discussions. Quiescent. Cells remain quiescent, crucial for tissue homeostasis. Quisling. A quisling betrays their country to occupiers. Quotidian. Researchers study quotidian experiences to analyze urban dynamics. Raconte. A skilled raconteur engages students through storytelling. Rakish. The rakish architecture exemplifies modern urban design. Ramifications. Climate change study has significant ramifications for policy. Shackle. The building's ramshackle condition raised safety concerns. Rancor. Historical figures often harbor rancor towards wrongdoers. Rankled. The professor's comments rankled students feeling unfairly criticized. Rapacious. Rapacious corporations cause significant environmental degradation. Rapprochement. Recent rapprochement fosters trade and security cooperation. Rarefied. High-altitude rarefied atmosphere affects human physiology. Ratified. The majority ratified the treaty, ensuring legal compliance. Ratiocination. Ratiocination is essential for valid arguments in philosophy. Rationale. The rationale for the policy is improved student engagement. Ravel. Raveling threads impacts fabric durability in textile studies. Ravens. Ravens symbolize wisdom in various cultural myths. Rebuff. The committee's rebuff indicated project disapproval. Calcitrant. Recalcitrant students hinder overall class progress. Capitulate. The professor will recapitulate the study's main findings. Recapitulation. The lecture ended with a recapitulation of theories. Recidivism. High recidivism undermines offender rehabilitation efforts. Prosody. Reciprocity is essential for diplomatic relations between countries. Reconditioned. The laboratory used reconditioned equipment to cut costs. Recriminations. Stakeholders exchanged recriminations about the decision-making process. Recrudescence. The study noted the recrudescence of previously eliminated diseases. Rectitude. Academic rectitude aligns with established ethical standards. Recumbent. Certain species' recumbent position indicates relaxation levels. Redolent. The ruins are redolent of a thriving civilization. Redoubt. Military strategy includes retreating to a redoubt. Refractive. Refractive index dictates light bending in materials. Refractory. Refractory materials withstand extreme heat in applications. Fulgent. Refulgent stars are visible without city pollution. Reiterated. The professor reiterated key points for student understanding. Rejoinder. The lawyer's rejoinder countered the prosecution's accusations. Rejuvenation. Cellular rejuvenation offers new treatments for age-related diseases. Relegated. Students failing standards are relegated to lower tracks. Remnants. The site revealed remnants of an ancient civilization. Remonstrated. Students remonstrated against proposed curriculum changes. Remuneration. The study analyzed remuneration's impact on motivation and productivity. Remunerative. Students seek remunerative work for tuition and expenses. Reneged. The committee reneged on its funding promise. Reparations. The government implemented reparations for historical injustices. Party. Witty repartee enhances engagement and critical thinking. Repercussions. Policy changes will have significant repercussions on economics. Repin. Repin documents to maintain future accessibility. Replete. The findings were replete with supporting evidence. Reprisals. The government enacted economic reprisals for trade violations. Probate. A reprobate engages in consistent immoral behavior. Repudiated. Several scientists repudiated the theory after new evidence. Requite. Individuals often requite kindness, enhancing community bonds. Rescinded. The university rescinded its tuition fee increase decision. Resplendent. The sunset's resplendent colors enhanced the climate lecture. Rest. Students were restive during the lengthy lecture. Resurgence. The resurgence of renewable energy has advanced technology. Reticent. Some students are reticent in sharing opinions. Retinue. The king's retinue comprised advisors, guards, and servants. Retracted. The study's findings were retracted due to manipulation. Retrenchment. The university's retrenchment reduced operating costs significantly. Retroactive. The policy will have a retroactive effect on employees. Revelry. The festival fostered a state of revelry among students. Reverberation. Reverberation affects concert hall acoustics significantly. Reviled. Many scholars reviled the policy's lack of support. Vulsion. The study reveals revulsion towards perceived unjust norms. Bold. The professor's ribald humor engaged students effectively. Ritually. Ceremonies were ritually performed to uphold tradition. Cocoa. Rococo emerged in early 18th century France. Roiling. Roiling ocean waters create dangerous conditions for boats. Rostrum. The professor spoke from the rostrum, captivating students. Ruminants. Ruminants possess unique digestive systems for plant breakdown. Runic. Runic inscriptions reveal ancient Germanic culture and language. Saboteur. Saboteurs can hinder negotiations for improved working conditions. Saccharine. Concerns arise over saccharine substances in food products. Sanct. Free speech is a sacrosanct principle in democracies. Salient. The salient features enhance understanding of the phenomenon. Salubrious. Regular exercise has salubrious effects on mental health. Salute. Regular exercise has salutary effects on mental health. Sardonic. The professor's sardonic remarks highlighted the situation's absurdity. Hardiel. The professor examined sartorial choices' impact on identity. Sate. Researchers must sate participants' appetite before experiments. Satiated. Satiated individuals exhibit reduced interest in food stimuli. Neen. The philosopher's saturnine nature prompted dark reflections. Saunter. Students saunter through campus, enjoying scenery and socializing. Scade. Recent studies found a scad of climate change evidence. Schism. The Protestant Reformation caused a schism in Christianity. Scintillating. The professor's scintillating lecture sparked lively discussion. Scion. The scion must uphold family legacy expectations. Scruples. Researchers have scruples about harming participants in experiments. Scrutinized. The research team scrutinized the data for accuracy. Scurrilous. The article contained scurrilous attacks on the politician. Seamy. Urban life's seamy underbelly reveals overlooked social issues. Sedulely. Researchers sedulously examined every detail of their hypothesis. Sera. The desert featured sera vegetation struggling to survive. Serendipity. Serendipity often results in unexpected scientific breakthroughs. Serpentine. The river's serpentine shape influences the ecosystem. Sectant. The sextant is vital for maritime navigation accuracy. Shackles. Prisoners were restrained in shackles during transport. Shambles. The research project was in shambles after funding cuts. Shards. The site revealed shards of ancient pottery. Shibboleth. A shibboleth distinguishes group members from outsiders. Shirk. Students who shirk responsibilities struggle with coursework. Simian. Simian behavior studies inform human social evolution. Simile. A simile creates vivid imagery through comparison. Sinecure. A sinecure offers salary without substantial responsibilities. Sinuous. The river's sinuous path illustrates natural erosion. Skimp. Companies often skimp on essential research funding. Slake. Universities slake students' thirst with water stations. Dash. Researchers criticize the study's slapdash approach, yielding unreliable results. Pshod. The slipshod methodology drew significant criticism. Sluggard. A sluggard frequently misses productivity deadlines. Smarmy. The politician's smarmy demeanor raised voter skepticism. Smattering. A smattering of languages aids linguistic evolution insights. Smelting. Smelting is essential for extracting metals from ores. Snub. Students may snub peers deviating from social norms. Sodden. The sodden ground hindered soil sample collection. Solder. Properly solder connections to ensure circuit functionality. Solace. A solecism can undermine academic argument credibility. Soliloquy. Shakespeare's soliloquy reveals characters' inner conflicts. Somatic. Somatic symptoms appear as unexplained physical ailments. Somnolent. Excessive somnolence impairs task concentration significantly. Sophistry. Sophistry misleads audiences with flawed logical arguments. Soporific. The lecture examined medication's soporific effects on recovery. Spate. The recent spate of climate change research underscores urgency. Specious. The professor criticized the policy's specious reasoning. Spendthrift. A spendthrift can cause household financial instability. Splice. Scientists splice DNA from various organisms in genetic engineering. Spoof. Researchers created a spoof to highlight methodological flaws. Sporadic. The region faces sporadic disease outbreaks, complicating health efforts. Spurious. The study found a spurious correlation between ice cream sales and drownings. Squabbling. Squabbling over details hinders group project progress. Squelch. The government sought to squelch dissenting voices. Bed. Staccato style features short, detached musical notes. Staid. The professor's staid demeanor hindered student engagement. Stanch. It is essential to stanch blood flow in emergencies. Stentorian. The professor's stentorian voice commanded student attention. Stigmatize. Social stigma stigmatizes individuals with mental health issues. Stigmatized. Mental health issues often lead to stigmatized individuals. Stippling. Stippling creates texture and depth in artistic illustrations. Stodgy. The professor deemed the textbook's writing style stodgy. Stolid. The audience's stolid response indicated disengagement. Stratified. Societies are stratified by social class and resources. Striated. Striated muscle fibers enable voluntary movements in humans. Strictures. New regulations impose strictures on pollutant release. Strident. The professor's strident critique revealed significant policy flaws. Stringent. The university enforces stringent regulations for academic integrity. Stultifying. Excessive bureaucracy has a stultifying effect on innovation. Buffied. Students were stupefied by quantum physics complexity. Stygian. Researchers noted the Stygian ocean depths lack light. Stymied. Funding stymied the research, halting further developments. Subjugation. Subjugation of indigenous populations caused cultural conflicts. Subsided. As the storm passed, winds subsided for safety. Substantive. Researchers presented substantive evidence for their hypothesis. Subsumed. Mammals are subsumed under vertebrates in classification. Succinct. The professor gave a succinct overview of findings. Succor. Humanitarian organizations provide succor during crises. Suffragists. Suffragists significantly advocated for women's suffrage early on. The lab atmosphere was suffused with curiosity and innovation. Superannuation. Countries implement superannuation for retirees' financial security. Supercilious. The professor's supercilious attitude stifled classroom discussion. Superimposed. Sediment layers are superimposed, revealing Earth's history. Superseded. Spontaneous generation theory was superseded by germ theory. Supine. The patient remained supine and unresponsive during examination. Supplant. New technologies can supplant existing production methods. Supplanted. Invasive species supplanted native species for resources. Surmounted. Researchers surmounted obstacles in their quest for a cure. Surreptitiously. Data was surreptitiously obtained without consent. Sweltering. Sweltering summer heat significantly affects agricultural productivity. Sybarite. Ancient Romans viewed the sybarite as excessively indulgent. Sycophant. A sycophant often gains power through flattery. Syllogism. A syllogism draws conclusions from two propositions. Symbiosis. Symbiosis describes mutualistic relationships among closely living species. Tacit. Tacit agreements among researchers advance the field significantly. Taciturn students may be overlooked despite valuable insights. Tactile. Tactile sensations are vital for environmental perception. Tangential. The professor deemed the tangential arguments irrelevant to the thesis. Tantamount. Non-compliance with safety regulations is tantamount to negligence. Tarnished. The company's tarnished reputation deterred new investors. Tarry. Students must not tarry on assignments for success. Tautology. A tautology undermines arguments by introducing circular reasoning. Tedium. Repetitive tasks induce tedium, reducing research productivity. Toll. Many cultures have teetotal individuals for health reasons. Temerity. The student's temerity surprised everyone in class. Tempestuous. The region's tempestuous politics caused leadership changes. Tenable. A tenable hypothesis requires empirical evidence support. Tendentious. The article's tendentious argument favored one ideology. Tenets. Democracy's tenets include individual rights and rule of law. Tepid. The academic community's response was tepid and unenthusiastic. Terse. The professor gave a terse summary of theories. Theocracy. Theocracy often bases laws on religious principles. Thespian. A thespian embodies complex characters in drama studies. Threadbare. The opposing side's arguments were threadbare and unsubstantiated. Timbre significantly influences sound quality and emotional impact. Tirade. The professor's tirade criticized inadequate research funding. Titular. The titular role was played by a renowned actor. Toady. Employs toady to superiors for promotions in organizations. Torpor. Many animals enter torpor in winter to survive. Tortuous. The tortuous river path shaped the landscape over millennia. Tottering. The tottering economy raises recession concerns among policymakers. Touchstone. The theory of evolution is a touchstone for biology. Tractable. A tractable problem can be solved in polynomial time. Traduced. The researcher was traduced by false debate claims. Transcendental. Transcendental philosophy explores reality beyond empirical observation. Transgressions. Researchers analyze moral transgressions' impact on norms. Transitory. The transitory nature of species underscores conservation importance. Transposed. Transposed DNA segments cause significant trait variations. Trenchant. The professor's trenchant analysis shaped economic policy understanding. Trepidation. Many students showed trepidation regarding upcoming exams. Tribulations. Students overcome tribulations, fostering resilience in academia. Truculent. Students' truculent behavior hindered debate moderation. Truism. A truism is a self-evident philosophical truth. Truncated. Statistical analysis truncated results to highlight relevant data. Tumid. Tumid tissue indicates increased water absorption response. Turbidity. High turbidity indicates suspended particles affecting aquatic life. Turgid. The professor criticized the student's turgid prose. Turncoat. A turncoat may change political allegiance, impacting careers. Turpitude. Moral turpitude arises in professional misconduct cases. Tyro. A tyro may struggle with complex research methodologies. Ubiquitous. Smartphones are ubiquitous, shaping communication and information access. Umbrage. Students take umbrage at criticism of their work. Unassailable. The study provided unassailable evidence of human-induced climate change. Unassuming. The unassuming researcher let findings speak for themselves. Unconscionable. The committee found the corporation's actions unconscionable. Unctuous. The politician's unctuous manner raised voter skepticism. Underscore. The study underscores early childhood education's importance. Undulating. Undulating landscapes significantly impact local biodiversity. Unearthed. Archaeological findings unearthed evidence of unknown civilizations. Unequivocally. The experiment unequivocally demonstrates the new drug's effectiveness. Unexceptionable. The study offered unexceptionable evidence for climate change. Find. Unfined honesty is crucial in experimental result reporting. Gainly. Architects criticize the building's ungainly design. Unilateral. A unilateral decision can impact diplomatic negotiations significantly. Unimpeachable. The researcher provided unimpeachable evidence for her hypothesis. Kempt. The student's unkempt appearance hindered group participation. Unobtrusive. Unobtrusive observations yield insights without participant influence. Unprepossessing. The building's unprepossessing nature belies its significance. Unremitting. Unremitting climate change pressure demands immediate government action. Untenable. The theory is untenable without empirical evidence. Unwarranted. Many unwarranted assumptions lead to flawed conclusions. Unwanted. Researchers noted an unwanted population increase post-environmental changes. Upbraided. The professor upbraided students for inadequate exam preparation. Uproarious. The uproarious seminar revealed diverse climate change perspectives. Ursine. Ursine behavior reveals bare social structures. Usurped. Leaders have usurped power from legitimate authorities. Usury. Usury often relates to exploitative predatory lending practices. Vacillate. Policymakers vacillate between immediate and delayed climate action. Vacillating. Policymakers are vacillating on climate change actions. Vacuous. The professor criticized the vacuous argument lacking evidence. Vagaries. Vagaries of climate change impact agricultural productivity significantly. Valediction. The professor's valediction emphasized future endeavors. Valedictory. The valedictory address celebrated students' achievements and aspirations. Vapid. The professor deemed the lecture vapid and unengaging. Variegated. Ecosystems exhibit variegated biodiversity patterns essential for health. Vaunted. The university's vaunted reputation stems from its excellence. Vehemently. Researchers argued vehemently against the proposed theory. Venal. Venal practices erode public trust in government institutions. Venial. Some mistakes are venial and merit no severe punishment. Veracious. The historian's veracious account accurately represented the events. Veracity. The veracity of the data validates the findings. Verbiage. Excessive verbiage obscures the main argument. Verbose. The professor's verbose explanation confused some students. Verdant. The region's verdant landscapes support diverse species. Verisimilar. The researcher provided verisimilar evidence for her hypothesis. Verisimilitude. Historical narratives require verisimilitude for contextual understanding. Vernal. The vernal equinox signals spring's onset in the northern hemisphere. Verve. The artist infused the project with verve. Vestiges. The site revealed vestiges of an ancient civilization. Vicariously. Students vicariously experience history through literature and film. Vicissitudes. History reveals the vicissitudes of political power. Vignettes. The professor illustrated social norms with cultural vignettes. Vilified. Vilified historical figures struggled to rehabilitate reputations. Vilify. Authors vilify figures to emphasize moral lessons. Vim. Students with Vim achieve superior academic results. Virulent. The virulent virus strain increased infection rates significantly. Viscid. A viscid substance influences cell movement and nutrient transport. Viscous. Highly viscous fluids resist flow in fluid dynamics. Vitiated. The control group was vitiated, rendering results unreliable. Vitriol. The debate featured vitriol from opposing theoretical perspectives. Vitriolic. The professor's vitriolic remarks by heated debate. Vituperation. The lecture addressed vituperation in political discourse. Vituperative. The professor's vituperative comments revealed intense disagreement. Vivacious. Students' vivacious nature enhanced the classroom environment. Vociferous. The vociferous debate revealed scholars' differing climate views. Voluble. A voluble student often dominates discussions, hindering contributions. Votati. Votaries of ancient philosophies shaped modern scientific thought. Waffles. Waffles exemplify unique textures in culinary traditions. Wafting. The aroma wafting indicates a chemical reaction. Wanderlust. Wanderlust influences social behaviors in cultural geography studies. Waned. Traditional media's influence has waned in digital age. Wastrel. A wastrel squanders resources, causing market inefficiencies. Waylay. Predators waylay prey by ambushing them effectively. Welter. A welter of accounts complicates historical understanding. Wheedle. Individuals may wheedle favorable agreements through charm. Whimsy. The artist's work embodies whimsy, challenging traditional norms. Wince. Participants winced in pain from high decibel exposure. Winnowing. Winnowing separates valuable crops from chaff effectively. Winsome. The winsome presentation captivated the audience's attention. Wizened. The wizened scholar discussed ancient civilization evolution. Wrangling. Academic wrangling affects historical event interpretations significantly. Phobia. Xenophobia causes social tensions in multicultural societies. Yokel. Critics use yokel to describe culturally isolated individuals. Zealots. Zealots significantly influence religious beliefs and practices,